Hello everybody and welcome to Online Teachers Club YouTube channel. Fraser here, and I've been putting out lots of different reviews of online companies, and I've always said I'll never speak about a company that I don't have personal experience with. So I brought on a teacher today who has personal experience with one of the big Chinese companies called Likeshou. Is that pronounced correctly?
You've asked me the wrong question. I say Likeshou, but I think it's Likeshou.
I think they have an English name like ABC as well, right? I've heard them call themselves like ABC sometimes.
I think that's another brand within the Metin company. So Metin is the school, Likeshou is the online platform.
All right. So Nick is a teacher for this company. They have two kind of platforms. They have a kids platform and an adults platform. Nick teaches adults, so he does a lot of business English, IELTS preparation for some students, right? Different kind of topics, mainly teaching adults and college students, right?
Most of my students tend to be, I would say, in the late 20s to early 40s, but I mean it's a full spectrum of ages.
All right. Anyway, before we get into that, I'd just like Nick to give us a little bit of introduction about himself, his background, teaching background, and how he ended up working for Likeshou.
Well, my teaching background is predominantly, it's almost all exclusively offline. I moved to Thailand when I was 28, which was 8 years ago, and worked in a high school for a year. Or for 9 months, and then after that I became a freelance teacher teaching for lots of small schools, and then I started getting involved in English camps and bigger English camps and corporate jobs, teaching hotels and lots of different companies, both in the city I live and also up in Bangkok and all over Thailand. And then with the rise of COVID, I moved into online because all of my work got cancelled between March and April.
I think a lot of teachers moved online during COVID, which is one of the reasons the market's kind of become a bit saturated since COVID-19. Although there's been an increase in students, there's also been an even bigger increase in available teachers willing and looking to work online. All right, we've moved just to make the audio a little bit better, hopefully. Let's continue. So Nick just introduced himself, and we're going to talk today about a company called Likeshou, the pros and the cons of working for this company, how you can apply and how you can go through the process. It's one of the difficulties of getting in with this company is they've got a specific process, and it's easy to fail along the way or make a mistake so you don't get hired, even if you are qualified. So let's firstly talk about the platform. What is the Likeshou platform like? How does it work? How do you get bookings? Do the students book you directly, or does the company delegate students to you? How does it work?
Okay, firstly about the platform. Well, I am technologically not adept, so I would say the platform is fairly easy to use, to be honest. So if I can use it, probably anyone can. And as for getting students, it's a mixture. You get group classes and you get one-by-one classes, and some teachers have more of one than the other. Personally, I get more one-by-one classes. This is where the student books me, and then it just seems to carry on and come back. But I know other teachers who get lots and lots of group classes of either 1 to 4 students or 1 to 6 or even sometimes 1 to 8 students. Different strokes, different folks.
Alright. So how long have you been working for the company?
I've been working for Likeshou since the end of March, beginning of April.
Okay, and since then have you been getting consistent hours, or has it been up and down?
Yeah, it's been consistent. I've had never less than 100 hours in a month. I've had a few months where I've been up in the sort of 160. I've had 1 month of 160, a few months of 145. and then normally I end up about 120.
All right. So, how do you increase your chances of getting more bookings if you do work for a company like Likeshou?
Well, my personal advice for getting more bookings is, firstly, don't try to be a jack of all trades. Yes, I've got a lot of experience teaching English, but personally, my forte, I teach pronunciation quite well. I've done it in Thailand for a very long time, so teaching Chinese students pronunciation is not too difficult. I try to use my own strengths and not focus on my weaknesses, and try to set an example with my students that making mistakes is okay. That seems to be what keeps me busy, and I'm serious about the teaching of English, but I'm not really so serious about my job. One of the things I say to my students is, look, if you talk to me outside of the platform, I'm just happy that you talk to me. I don't care about the level of your English, but when you come here, it's my job to tell you, and I'm going to. And if you don't want a strict teacher, I'm not the teacher for you. And mostly they like that.
All right. So, Likeshou is a system where the student rates the teacher after each class. Is that correct?
Yeah, the student rates the teacher.
So, how many bookings you get really depends on how good a teacher you are or how popular you are with students. Every company works differently. Some companies, it doesn't matter how popular you are with students. If you're a good teacher and the company likes you, they'll give you hours. With other companies like iTutor and Likeshou, it depends on how popular you are with students. So if you're someone who is often very popular with their students, you're going to do well at Likeshou, either with kids or with adults. I'm not sure how the rating system works with the kids platform. Is it the same?
I believe so. I have one friend who teaches kids, and yeah, they have ratings there as well. But
So-
I don't know how, if it's the kids or the parents, I don't know.
It's probably a bit of both. It's usually a bit of both. All right. Anyway, so let's get into some of the basic details of the company. What do they pay per hour, and
I think
how do they pay you, and
I think
what date do they pay you? Yeah.
okay, how much they pay per hour, it depends on the kind of class that you do, and also depends how long you've worked for the company. So I'd rather not say the exact amount, but let's just say that my starting rate was about 100 RMB per class, which is 45 minutes. So if you think that's a 45-minute class, I used to work per hour in Thailand. So it's not far off, or it's about the same as what I get in Thailand. But if you do well, you have 100 classes, you have no late fee, no lateness, and you get lots of 5 stars. You can increase how much you get paid with various bonuses.
The good thing about Likeshou is classes are 45 minutes, which is, I think it's a good amount. An hour I find is sometimes too long. 45 is nice, and you're still paid the same rate as what other companies pay you for a full hour. So I think that's pretty good. How do they pay you? Is it by PayPal, bank transfer?
No,
What do they offer?
I think they offer by. I think some people do take Payoneer. Is that right? I think I take it by bank in Thailand. I think it depends what country you're in.
Okay, so they'll do international transfer.
They'll do international transfer.
Do they pay the fee, the transfer fee? Do they give any? Some companies
So
will
you
offer
have-
an extra $20 to cover the fees. Do
No, they
anything
don't.
like that?
They take off about 2 classes worth. They take off 200 RMB, which is I guess about just shy of $30, which covers your transfer fee. Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the hiring process at Likeshou, because I know a lot of teachers come back to me and they say that they've got stuck at a certain point, or they haven't received an email, or something's gone wrong. So can we go through and talk through the hiring process? How does it work at Likeshou? How do you get a job?
The first thing is you have to register, and the registration process is a little bit different to other companies because you have to get a code. You put in your name, your telephone number, your email, and they send you a code, but a lot of people can't find this code, so it goes into your junk folder in Chinese, and you've got a whole Chinese looking email with one 4-digit number. Your 4-digit number is your code, and that starts you along the process. And then the next step is putting in photos, putting in your resume, putting in your details, etc., putting in your experience.
Yeah. So I think it's the same process as most companies.
Yeah. And then you have an interview. Following that, you'll have an interview and demo class with a teaching administrator.
Cool. So I think the biggest issue teachers slip up is they don't receive that email. So you're just going to check your junk and your spam folders to make sure, and look for an email that's only in Chinese and it'll have a code in. And you can do that to start the application process.
Yeah.
Okay, so how's the communication with the Chinese team? I know with some companies there are issues and cultural differences that a lot of teachers really struggle with, communication barriers between them and the Chinese team. Sometimes there's a Western team put in the middle as kind of a buffer.
I think
how does it work with Likeshou?
Well, I think the thing is, a lot of teachers make this mistake. They think that TA stands for teaching assistant, which actually is a teaching administrators. They're not your boss, they're like your supervisor. But, you know, if you treat them like an assistant, well, you're not going to get very far because that's not actually their job. Secondly, I work for them, it's not my company, so, you know, they have certain rules they want me to follow, and, you know, some people might think they're strict, and, you know, they are quite strict, but it's not my company, and I have to work somewhere, and I choose to work there. It works well for me. Some people find that it can be a bit full on sometimes, or perhaps it's not fair, but honestly, my experience with communication has been pretty good. I have a wonderful TA, we have a very good relationship, a good friendship as well. I know some other people in the company, both Chinese and foreigners, and or native speakers, and generally speaking, the Chinese staff have been really, really pleasant with me. I made mistakes and I've had to learn from them. But, you know, when occasionally things have not gone the right way, people take responsibility for their actions and they're accountable. They seem to get on with it and just get on with whatever they have to do. Doesn't seem to be much of a problem.
All right, so with Likeshou, the system is they give you a TA, a teaching administrator.
You choose your TA, you choose them. That's
TA.
the person who interviews you. They make a choice and then they have to kind of supervise you and suggest how to make you a better teacher.
So I think the TAs get they have an incentive to make their team of teachers the best team of teachers. So they've really, I think that's how they do the quality management. They put a TA in charge, and if their team is shit, they get the shit.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how they keep the standards up, and that can cause some problems with some teachers because if they don't communicate properly, or they get, or they're not up to the right standards, companies like that may reduce their hours and things like that, or they may not get as many bookings from students. So I think that's the main con for a company like Likeshou. iTutor is the fact that bookings are dependent on how well students rate you, which is good for teachers like very popular superstar rock star teachers like Nick, but for other teachers that may be great teachers but not that popular with their students, it may not be the company for you. What do you think about that? Is that
I think, you know, it's everybody's got their unique style, and you got to really find like what works for you. You know, I've met people who are really very good at teaching English. Maybe they don't quite grasp the fact that teaching English in different countries, there's different skills which are required, and it's not to say they're a bad teacher, they just might not be suitable for this line of work. I hear a lot of people saying that, that maybe certain rules or things they have in place are not fair, but life's not fair, you know, you just got to deal with it.
You got to adapt and overcome. If you're going to work online and teach for big Chinese companies, you've got to adapt the way that you go about things.
It's not a school in the UK, it's not a school in the native country, it's a school in China. We play by their rules. Yeah. Like, we can't expect them to be like a school in England because they're not. They're running it as a school in China. And when you kind of realise that and you work with them, you end up having to do better. But when you go against it, then it doesn't really work.
Yeah. So just to kind of wrap things up, Likeshou is a big online Chinese company that's based on students' ratings of the teacher. They do have a lot of hours and a lot of students and big investments. They have a kids program and an adults program, so you can choose. A lot of companies that do both don't let you choose, and they'll throw you kindergarten kids and then adults. And you know, some teachers I'm pretty sure Nick prefers to teach adults.
I 100% prefer teaching adults because I don't have the patience for teaching children that long, and one-on-one in a classroom setting online, I certainly struggle.
Yeah, and it's not just one-on-one with Likeshou. There's one-on-one, and there's also group classes up to.
Yeah,
what's
I
the
think,
max number of students in a regular class?
In a regular class, 4, 6, 8. They have bigger classes than that, but those are very specialist, and those are more like lecture classes. Yeah. But typically, I do more one-on-ones, both in the adult program and also for business English.
So if you are watching now and you're interested in getting involved with this company or trying to apply or finding out more about it, Nick helps people get hired. He's helped a few people get through. At OTC, I've decided not to directly recruit companies anymore, which is why I bring in people like Nick who work for that company and can talk in a lot more detail and really help people through the application process. So if they want to get in touch with you and want to apply, how can they do so?
Well, you can find the link, I believe, below.
Yeah, we'll put the link down here.
And you can find me on Facebook.
All right, so I'll
name will be down.
I'll put your Facebook down below, and I'll put the link to apply. So you can apply, and if you get stuck during the process, you can send Nick a private message on Facebook, and he'll have to check his private message junk folder. You know how to do it on Facebook, right?
I know how to do that. I'm not completely behind technology. I know how to use Facebook and Messenger.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't realize there's a junk folder in Facebook PM messages.
So I don't really use Facebook anymore, so it's okay. If I get junk folder with messages, I'll probably see it.
Anyway, I'll put your links down below. If you're interested in applying this company, you can go ahead and do so. I hope you found this video useful. Anything you want to say to end this video, Nick? Final piece of advice.
As they say, as the saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, or the Thai language version I prefer, when in the land of the one-eyed man, act like a one-eyed man. So if you're going to work for a Chinese school, maybe brush up your Chinese culture, be a bit aware. That's maybe some slight advantage I have because I grew up in Hong Kong and I grew up in China. So there you go. Good luck, break a leg, rock and roll.
Yeah. Another thing I just wanted to add, is this company where you get the majority of your online work, or do you work for other online companies at the same time?
I sometimes work for him, but no.
Apart from the odd hour, is there any other main company that you're working for?
No, the one thing I would add is that I work for Likeshou pretty much exclusively because I have work outside being a teacher, and they kind of support me in doing that, and they allow me the flexibility. So it's a win-win situation. The students are great, the company's been really good to me, and I don't need to work for someone else because they make it fun. Easy place to work at.
So there it is, guys. My advice is always work for multiple companies, but if you're a very popular teacher, especially if you're popular at teaching adults, a company like Likeshou may be able to provide all the hours you need. You may not even have to work for multiple schools. So do go and apply. Do get hold of Nick if you're interested, and comment below if you work for Likeshou and you've got any ideas or any experiences you want to share. Please post them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ka-ching.